The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. Between science and ignorance, there is filler.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Paranormal Filler. Original broadcast date, November 11th, 2016. I'm Wes Forsyth, your host for the evening. My guest tonight is Angel Leigh, Spiritual Messenger. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and like me on Facebook. You can find all of those links at paranormalfiller.com. Paranormal Filler is brought to you by Ken Boggle's House of Cards, tarotbyken.com. And I do want to give everybody a quick self-righteous plug, a little reminder, if you will. Tonight marks the official launch of Gone Off Topic, coming up in 1 hour from now, if you're listening live, of course. 10 p.m. Sunday nights, I've started a new show. It's going to be a little different from Paranormal Filler. It's going to be more topic-driven, but I do invite everyone to stay tuned for that if you're listening live. And if you're not, go to paranormalfiller.com and listen to the archives. The archives will only be available at paranormalfiller.com. If anybody was following me on Twitter today, here's what happened at the funeral home. We had a family friend who lost his father, and the funeral was in a town that we knew where the town was, but we did not know where the funeral home was. So we Googled it, and so we drove, and got there and got to the place that said so and so funeral services, and in a town that is not even big enough to warrant being incorporated. They don't even have their own census. They don't even have a population. You can't go online and find this town's population. Yes, but this town does have two locations of the same funeral service company. So that's what was going on. The deceased did not get better, as I talked about in my tweet. Apparently, we were just at the wrong building, which we figured out very quickly. So I wanted to share that with you, everybody. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good night. You're listening to Paranormal Filler. Angel, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on tonight.
I've really been looking forward to this. Everybody, a little history. I actually talked to Angel the first time on Scarefest Radio. Did a little quick segment with her on the run-up to Scarefest. But then I got to meet her at the Scarefest. And before we go any further, I'm going to tell you, you have a very interesting energy about you.
Oh, no.
No, it's a good thing. If I had to define it, and some of my psychic friends that actually you may not have been aware of, they kind of felt the same thing. I would call your energy warm and fuzzy.
Well, I guess that's pretty good, then.
Well, I mean, I've had people up where I walked and I just felt like suck the energy right out. But no, yours is just, but yeah. It feels, I don't want to say probing, but it does, it's like walking into a big old fluffy dandelion. So I just wanted to put that out there for everybody.
Well, hey, I'm going to take that as a compliment. I think that's very good. I really enjoyed myself at Scarefest, and I got to meet a whole lot of new people, and I finally got to meet you, and I mean, everyone was just super sweet to me, and I'm going to tell you, when I was shaking hands, it is crazy at the energy that was there. I mean, Oh my God, it was just crazy. Like I would just walk by and I could just feel the energy, and especially, you know, when you shake hands with someone else that's gifted, you knew, like you automatically knew this person is gifted, like this is the real deal kind of thing, you know. And it was just an amazing experience, an amazing feeling, and everyone was just super sweet to me. And I'm very, very glad that I was able to meet you and your wife.
And it was a pleasure meeting you also. Okay, enough of that stuff. Now, let's, everyone, now, okay, now first, right off the bat, I want to kind of ask you, in your bio that you use, you do not consider yourself a medium, but rather you prefer the term spiritual messenger. What?
Yes.
Tell us how you're breaking that down, why you prefer that term so much over medium. And I'm going to preface this by saying, from what I know about you and from what I've read and seen, you are the definition of a medium. So continue.
Yeah. I know, right? Okay. Well, first of all, I will say this. I am not downing anyone who is known as a medium or psychic. I have met amazing, well, at Scarefest, I met amazing mediums and psychics like Kim Russo. She was so sweet. And Chip Coffey, they were my idols growing up. Just someone like Chip Coffey, I would always watch him growing up, you know, because he did the Psychic Kids or something, and I would watch that because I knew that I was different. I just didn't know exactly like what I was. The reason I call myself a spiritual messenger is not because I'm downing other mediums or psychics or anything like that. Like I said, Chip Coffey and Kim Russo, they've always been my idols. Well, first of all, I'm from a very small town, and I'm not saying that other mediums and psychics are not neither. I'm just from a very small town, and nobody knew my secret. Like, I don't know other people's stories, but with mine, I've been this way. My parents started noticing a difference with me since I was 3 years old, and they immediately kept it to themselves. They did that just to kind of protect me. You know, I'm from a very small town, and let's face it, if people would have really knew what I could do or you know, what I was able to do or whatever, people would have treated me different. You know, it's very judgmental around here, and so we just decided I would like to try to be as normal as I could. And so they just kept it within themselves. We prayed about it. You know, we went to church. And like I said, I'm not on anyone else. I'm not saying they didn't go to church, mediums and other psychics. It's just me, my story. You know, this is how I can describe who I am, my story. But I would pray about it. Like anytime that I would see anything in my mind or with my own eyes or whatever, I would pray about it. I would run to my parents. My parents would say, baby, let's just pray about it. Let's keep it within the family. Only a few people, like I could count on my hand of the people that really knew what I was able to do from school or whatever. Other than that, nobody else knew. This is a complete secret. So I'm 30 years old now. So this, I went public, let's say, a year and a half ago or whatever, when the book came out and the TV show that I was on and all that. I decided right before then to go public with my gift. I felt like God was speaking to me. I was in college. I went back to college. I have 2 small kids, and you know, I was in college trying to finish school and all that. But the whole time, I just felt like God was trying to call to me and tell me to go public with this. And so I went home and I told my parents. I'm a close family girl, you know, and I call my parents every day. And I told them, and they were like, "Are you sure? You know, let's pray about this." And so I prayed about it, and I felt like it was the right thing to do, because my whole life I thought this was a curse. I mean, I'm not going to lie. You know, I felt different. I felt like an oddball, even though I fit in at school. You know, I cheered. I had friends. It's just nobody knew the truth. I wasn't myself. And the reason I decided to be known as a spiritual messenger was because I had this connection one time. This lady came to me and asked if I could connect with her dad. I started watching on TV that majority of mediums and psychics, now with my experience, you know, people can sit down with them and get a connection just like that, majority of the time. You know, I never could do that. I can't connect with just everybody. You know, there are times where I could shake your hand. I've done this several times, where I would make an immediate connection, you know, and and if they were okay with me giving them the message, I will. But I've never been able to just sit down and connect with every single person that I talk to. And so I put myself in a different, like, okay, well, that's different about me because I'm not able to connect with everyone like majority mediums and psychics. But this lady comes to me and she asked if I could connect with her dad. And I told her, you can send me a picture, no information. This is all through email, and I was like, no information. I don't want to know anything. Just send me a picture of him, no name. We'll pray about it. I said, if I feel anything by that, I said, I will let you know. Well, during the time of me getting a connection, I will usually look at a picture. I don't always need pictures, but I'll look at a picture and I'll pray. And I'll just say, Lord, if it's your will, if I'm able to give a message, then let it be. And then I get off the computer or whatever I'm on, and I go tend to my kids. I'm a busy mom. And then it's either that day, it can be weeks later. it can be a month later. I will start, it's like I'm daydreaming. Like I'll just be sitting there in a daze, daydreaming about, I seen this man laying in a hospital, and he had a Bible, and he was reading his Bible, and they're not talking to me. It's not, they don't talk to me. I don't talk back to them. It's nothing like that. It's like I'm watching this movie. Well, I started writing down what I'm daydreaming during the day, and I contacted her because I just felt this girl, and I said, I feel that I have him. I said, I don't know. We'll see. And I started telling her personal stuff, and she validated it. Also, I knew immediately that it was for her. And I said, look, I said, out of everything, he needs you to know that he met Jesus. I didn't meet Jesus, he did. That's what he's showing me, that he's in heaven, he's okay. And she said, wow. And she said, well, I need to tell you something. And this was after she validated, like she was able to validate a lot of stuff. She said that a month before he passed, he was in the hospital, and she was raised as an atheist, and that he, taught her the same thing. And a month before he passed, a preacher come in there and started, reading to him the Bible, and so he really got into the Bible. She said it made me question, because I was raised as atheist, why are you reading the Bible? She didn't understand, but she's seen the peace that it brought to her daddy. And so she didn't say anything to him because she said it actually gave her comfort to know, hey, if my daddy feels at peace with this and this is what's going to help him pass and him be okay, then okay, I'm okay with it. Well, he ended up passing, and they put the Bible, in his casket. Well, she said she always wondered, because she had teenage girls, and she was teaching them the same, that there's not a God, there's not a God. And she said, but look, after you told me that my daddy met Jesus, and she said, and I know in his very last moments here on earth, he was reading his Bible and he got right with God. She said, I better get my booty in church. And her girls started going to church. About 6 months later, she wrote me and she said, I just want to let you know that what you have is a gift from God. She said, and for you, giving me the message from my daddy, me and my girls are now members of church, and we are all baptized. And so from then on, I said, you know what? I'm no more. I've been able to, I've led people to God with what I do. I'm not saying I lead all of them to God, but I have led many to God with what I do. And so I'm more known as a spiritual messenger versus a medium or psychic. I do have the same as a medium, and some people call me medium, and I'm fine with that. But majority of the time, that's why I'm known as a spiritual messenger. So for the ones who say, why or whatever, I like to tell them that story, and of why that's the difference of what I do versus the psychic. Even though I do have some tendencies, I was able to pick up like an earthquake. It's all on my Facebook, and certain things. I would be inside and at my home that was an hour away from my parents, and I would call and I'd say, hey, what is wrong with my daddy's ankle? And she's like, my mom, would say, baby, what are you talking about? He's outside. And then, of course, he'd come in limping, and stuff like that. So, but that's the reason to me, that's the difference, and that's the reason with my personal opinion of why I'm known more as a spiritual messenger versus a psychic or medium. But like I said, I'm not downing other mediums or psychics, but this is just how I am.
Okay, everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break. You're listening to Paranormal Filler with my guest, Angel Leigh.
Hello, friends. Are you exhausted with life?
Resent your children? Maybe your husband is cheating on you. Get yourself a tarot reading with Ken Boggle. He can provide you with the clarity, guidance, and answers you need. That's tarotbyken.com. He makes things seem less shitty. My God, that was kind of a terrible commercial to play after that beautiful story that you just told.
I loved it. That was funny.
Before I move on, I want to, I had this discussion. Someone on Twitter sent me a private message just a day or two ago and was asking me a lot about what you just described about, we're the family, and this girl wasn't even, she just felt like she had a calling, you might say, and in the paranormal field. And immediately, I think it was her mother went into this tirade about being possessed by a demon. Then it occurred to me while I was talking to her, as a Christian, and even if you even if you subscribe to that branch of theology that thinks that there are no ghosts, there are, that psychics are bad and everything. But, okay,
right.
The Bible has a long history of picking people out of the blue to make prophets, if you will, or to give them messages, or to give them jobs to do. John the Baptist, for just to pull one out of thin air. So, in other words, to give people jobs. And if a person deeply feels that what they're doing, it comes from the God that they're worshiping, how can that be a bad thing? I can't wrap my head around a God that would, let me put it differently. Is it better to stick to that theology, or to say, no, God, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to do what I read in the book?
Right. Yeah, I understand and completely agree with you. That was one of the struggles of, some people would say now, like, oh my goodness, why did you keep this a secret for so long? Was because of the struggles that we were going through, because we was reading the Bible and we seen what was in the Bible, where it says, oh, you're not supposed to intervene with people like that, and all of that. But then you would see in the Bible that people have visions, and so it was like confusing us at times,
right.
And what do you say to, a little 3-year-old? I was 3, when I would say, Mommy, and tell her something. What do you say to a little 3-year-old that has no evil in their heart at all? Oh, you're of the devil, stay away from me. There's no way. And I'm a good person. I mean, I really am. I'm not perfect by no means, but that's why, it was such a struggle for me, because, I would hear, what people were saying that's in the Bible and stuff like that. And look, I believe in God's word, and I'm not, turning my back to God at all. But I don't think that what I do, I'm bringing peace, and I would hope and pray that everyone can go to our Lord and get that peace and closure. I would hope that. But I'm bringing more peace to people, and so I don't see where that's evil at all. So I completely understand what you're saying, and that's been one of the struggles of why I stayed quiet for so long, And on top of that, I didn't fully understand. I have not been, even though I've been this way my entire life, this is something that I'm new at. You got to realize I've been hush-hush about this for so long. And then now I'm able to talk about it, and people are like, wow. And even I've had pastors come to me, ministries coming to me, and giving me their experiences, preachers having visions and stuff like that, and so it's just, it's crazy of how, I wouldn't use the term crazy, I would say it's wonderful of how once you go public, you have so many people come forward with their experiences, and yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying, because that's something that we struggled with, and that's one of the big reasons we kept it quiet. But now I know 100% that what I do is of good, it's of light, and that's the path that I'm going to try to stay on. As long as I can stay in that path of light, I should be fine.
Now, moving on. Now, how did you become involved with the TV show Cursed, the Bell Witch, that was on, I think, Destination America?
Yeah. Okay, well, my sister, Brandy, is really into paranormal. She would watch scary movies growing up, and I'm, deathly scared of scary movies. I watch them, but I'm scared to death of stuff like that, because I don't see stuff like that, thank gosh, Well, she got in with this paranormal group called Mississippi Paranormal Investigators down here in the South, and she became friends with them, and she told them about me, and they asked if I would go with them to this location, not know any details about it, just go, and I was, at that time, I've always been interested in paranormal because I've been able to know certain things and, and stuff like that, but I didn't really know what I was capable of, if that makes sense. I would always close it off. Well, I went with them to this place, and afterwards we found out the location. We went pretty much blinded. We didn't know anything, and it's called the Deason House. It's in Laurel, Mississippi, or near that area of Laurel, Mississippi. But I went with them, and I ended up giving, names, just personal stuff about the home that no one would really know, and how would I know that when I didn't even know where we were going? And it kind of blew them away, and so they asked me if I would kind of join their group, and I'm not with them now. I love them to death, of course I'm close to them, but now I'm just I'm so busy doing the Angel Leigh now, it's just kind of hard to do anything else. But the Sirens Media contacted the paranormal team, asking about me, would get me interested in doing the show. And at first when they said it, I thought they were talking about the Blair Witch Project, because the Bell Witch legend is not famous here in Mississippi at all. And so at first I was kind of worried about it, because I thought, well, if I'm going to do anything, well, what are they asking me to do? And after I talked to some of the producers, and they said, we just want you to come in, walk through the cemetery, and see if you can pick up anything. And so that's kind of how I did it. They got me from the Mississippi Paranormal Investigation team. I went down there and walked through and ended up meeting more, and that's kind of how I got my foot in the door. And I met, I thought she was part of the cast, Dr. Sue Clifton. She wasn't. She's an author, and that's when she met me there during the filming. And she said, wow, you're real. And I actually read her, and I actually read some of the crew, the cast that was there. And she said, I want to write a book about you. And she did. And 6 weeks later, we come out with the book, Through the Eyes of Angel Leigh. That's a nonfiction book about my life. And it just kind of progressed, if that makes sense.
Now, of course, everyone, if you're not familiar with the Bell Witch curse, basically the legend has it that some farmer pissed off a witch. She cursed him, and every so many generations, the firstborn male, dies of a untimely death. Now, that being said, how's that for a Reader's Digest condensed version of a legend? What did you pick up on? What was your take on what was going on there?
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you, that's one thing. That show, I watched a few episodes of that show, and they took that legend in every possible freaking direction that it could be taken in.
Yeah. Well, I guess as TV, part of TV, I guess they already kind of had it where they already kind of knew the direction that they were going to go, before the cast, and all of that. But I went in and went to the Betsy Bell's grave. Now, remember, I had no idea. People who come to my events and stuff, they'll know I don't want to know anything. I've actually had to turn people away because they gave me information. I don't want information, And so I went there, and we did an investigation at the gravesite of Betsy Bell. And immediately I started picking up stuff. They only used some pieces of what I actually picked up during the filming. We had actually video of actual real EVPs, where I pick up Chloe, who they call her. She's a slave for the Bell family. Afterwards, I was actually they validated everything, like after everything was done. But I picked her up, and when I said, "Chloe, are you here?" She comes back. There's an EVP, just clear as day. I'm here. They didn't use any of this in the filming. I wish they would have, but there was amazing EVPs that night. But it was a lot of the land. I picked up land. I picked up like a white cover, like a white looking piece of cover, and they put rocks in it. And this lady was standing over it doing spells on it, and they put it in all the corners of the land. I picked that up that night. Well, anyway, after the show, they ended up doing the show their way, or whatever, and I guess they already had their direction of what they were going to go, which had more of the land. The land was cursed and stuff like that. But after we were done with the show, and I had no ties to the show, Sue asked me during the book, she said, "Do you think that you could pick up more?" And I said, "I think that I could." So we took a trip to the actual Bell Witch land. And I met with a man, Tim Henson, he's the curator for the museum up there in Adams. And he said, the first thing he said to me, he's an awesome man. I love him to death. He said, "Well, I've had plenty of psychics and mediums come here, and they think they know everything." And Sue said, "Well, look, don't tell her anything. We don't want her, if she gets anything right, you just kind of stay quiet." And he said, "Well, I like to talk." And she's like, "Well, you have to keep it hush. We're going to walk this land." Well, he took us into places that has been years of people not have ever going. So I was able to have that experience of walking into some land. We were like dusting down spider webs, just going through it. And I started picking up names and stuff that Tim had to go back and dig to find. And he was just blown away. And he said, "There's no way, the stuff that she was coming up with, there's no way she would have possibly known." And we did that for a while. We worked on the Bell Witch legend for a while. I was able to meet Bob Bell and, some of the descendants from the Bell family and all of that. And I had the pleasure of getting close to their family, and they're just the sweetest people you'll ever meet. And we go stay in their cabin a lot up there. And it's a beautiful cabin, in the middle of nowhere. And I was able, before the book was released, I was able to pick up what I picked up, which is, the land. To me, the land was cursed. There was some rocks or stones, pebbles, whatever you want to call it, in all the land, in the corners of the land. And then and some of the legend is true. Like afterwards, Bob Bell told me the legend itself. Some of what happened that's being wrote about did happen. They aggravated, the Native American grave, and that's what got it started, And but I think in the end, I was able to validate a lot and tell them things that's never been told before. And Bob has even said that a lot of the stuff that I've talked about makes sense now. Before, when a show or a book would come out, some of the stuff just didn't make sense. But now, with what I picked up, now it kind of adds up, if that makes sense. Like, it all makes sense now. And so I'm glad. I tell myself all the time, or if people ask me, "Well, why? If you're known as a spiritual messenger, why did you do the Bell Witch legend? Isn't that supposed to be like one of the most haunted legends out there?" I'm glad that I did that. I met amazing people. I was not, if it wouldn't have been for that, I would have never been able to meet the Bell family, who are amazing people, and Tim Henson, and all of them. But I was able to give a voice to Betsy Bell, and to be able to tell the secrets within that's not been spoken of, kind of give the innocent, a voice. And so I'm really, really glad that I was able to do that. But the ending of my book, if people are interested in the details of what I was able to pick up, the book, is about my life and the struggles that I went through. But the very ending of the book is the true findings of what I picked up with the Bell Witch legend.
And we're going to take another commercial break. You're listening to Paranormal Filler with my guest, Angel Leigh. Ghost Stop is investigators building for investigators. It's not just a store. They are researchers that build and supply gear for teams around the world and your favorite ghost hunting shows such as Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures. Ask anyone that has used Ghost Stop and they'll tell you the customer service and quality are unbeatable because they know the equipment they are selling. Ghost Stop. Go to paranormalfiller.com. Click any Ghost Stop link. Ghost Stop. They build it. They use it. And a little reminder for everybody. On paranormalfiller.com, I have the Ghost Gadget of the Week. This week I've highlighted the 360-degree Ghost Cam by Ghost Stop. Stop by paranormalfiller.com, click the link, check that out. But basically this thing is the first interactive ghost hunting cam that catches everything. Floor to ceiling, full 360-degree view. Works with your cell phone. It records everything. Check it out. If you've ever had the situation where you've missed something because it was just out of your camera view, guess what? You can't use that excuse anymore. So once again, Ghost Stop. Go to paranormalfiller.com, click the link, and talk to my friends down there. So on the Angel, on the I guess I want to get into the psychology of the spiritual messenger now, in relation to that case, the Bell Witch case.
Yes.
Because you've said that you don't always get something, unless it's important, unless, there's that connection. There's a message to be given.
Yes.
So when you went into that situation, although you may not have been expecting it, what do you feel... Why did you get the message? In other words, why did that come to you? Why were you able? It's great that you were able to get that stuff and it was validated, but because I guess you say if you were union, you'd be in trouble because you went over.
Right.
You did. That's not your wheelhouse.
Yeah, you're right. Honestly, I think that it was important to she was an innocent girl, and there was a lot to it, but she was an innocent girl that was, being tortured, supposedly, by the spirits. And a lot happened to her, including even, sexual abuse even happened to her. And there was an innocent little baby that was involved, that I had picked up. And I really hope that people get to read the book and get what I picked up with the findings of it. And I think that that's probably one of the biggest reasons was because I was able to go in there and connect with a 200-year-old legend and give some peace to the family. Like, it actually has brought peace to some of the Bell family, that I'm pretty close to now, and the peace that it has brought to them, because they say, people see us as, oh my goodness, our family is cursed, and now I'm able to give them peace. And like I said, I think that God has I think He leads everyone's pathway, and I think that was one of the pathways that was meant for me to walk. And to give this innocent little girl, even though she, passed as an older lady, I was able to give her, the voice that she needed to say of what truly happened. And I think that that's probably one of the reasons that I tell you beforehand, I told my parents, I said, what am I going to do? I'm going to be on film. What if I don't pick up anything? I guess I can just smile at the camera, but I ended up I picked up more than what I thought. There was actually, when I talk about how I feel like He was leading my pathway, pulling up in the cemetery, I was with I think she's a producer. There was a little boy that ran by. And I said, oh, my goodness, look, he's so cute. Oh, he's dressed in character and everything. And I remember he was dressed old-timey. He had long socks on and like a collar. And she said, we don't have a little boy here. And I was like, what? And so I immediately just started writing down, what I seen. And anyway, long story short, I didn't know anything about this, but they had been trying to find this little boy that was buried in a shallow grave. And I had a vision of, of some graves, and I went close to the area where I felt that he was at. I had no idea that they had already been researching and not researching, but they had did them rods or something, and they had been measuring shallow graves. And anyway, I feel that, I was able to kind of validate their work that they've already done. Not the producer, not the cast. This is other people. This was connections with Dr. Sue Clinton and all of them. This was after, everything, the show and all of that. And one of the events that we were able to do, we gave a proper burial to this little boy. I seen him sweating, I seen him shaking, and there's great EVPs of him that Sue Clifton had caught with her camcorder. But if I wouldn't have went there, I wouldn't have never seen that little boy, and I wasn't able to help them validate what they were already, finding and stuff. And there probably wouldn't have even been a burial because they wouldn't have really truthfully know, hey, this is the little boy that she picked up, the little boy's voice, and all of that's been playing around here. And he probably wouldn't even had a burial because it wouldn't have all been validated. So I think in the end, it kind of all worked out great. I was able to pick up this little lost boy, and they even had him a little headstone and everything. I mean, it was a beautiful burial. And so I think there's multiple reasons of why, I was able to connect. But I think the most was, bringing the peace that it did to the family.
Okay. Now we're going to veer off on something that I don't guess you probably got to bring peace to anybody, but you did an event in my home state of Kentucky at Octagon Hall.
I did.
Man. And that I am embarrassed that I have not been there. I know the gentleman that runs the museum down there. I've talked to him a dozen times. I've never made it down there. I've heard nothing but good things about the place. Tell us about your trip to Octagon Hall.
Well, I had went a while back. I was invited to come and do a historical walkthrough. I've never been before, and so I went and I did a historical walkthrough. And I was able to validate the souls within the home that's not, that they actually were able to validate for me in the end. And we got some great EVPs during the filming. And while I was there, I was able to give a reading. There was a guy, really tall guy, can't miss him. His name's Bear. He's just an amazing man. I was able to give a spontaneous message for him. A few of his family members come through during the walkthrough. And so after that, Maria, all of them, Billy, they were all just so sweet to me, and they wanted me to come back. And I had, through Scarefest, became friends with Billy Crank, and he helped walk me around Scarefest and show me around to everyone and introduce me. And we ended up doing since he's from Kentucky and we're good friends, we decided to do an event together at the Octagon Hall. And so Night Stalker Paranormal Research Team, KGB Paranormal Radio was there, Billy Crank, me, and thank you to to Billy Bird for allowing this, but we were able to go, and it was during the Haunted Hall during the month of October. And so they had the Haunted Hall going on, and our event was not supposed to start till 11 p.m., so it was a lock-in. And what it was is, it actually started a little bit later. They showed video footage of actual event, like EVPs and pictures that was captured at the Octagon Hall. And then we did the Haunted Hall. There was a lot of people there. I was very shocked because, I'm getting my name out there, and I didn't realize, I didn't know. I was like, well, maybe about 10, maybe. It packed out. Not everyone could even get into the living room area. People were standing up and everything. After we did the Haunted Hall, we come in, and everyone was standing around, and I made spontaneous connections. And it was so hard because I wasn't able to sit and do connections like at my normal event. This was a different type of event. This was considered the Haunted Hall event, spontaneous connections, and then they did a paranormal investigation with Night Stalker Paranormal Research Team at the very end. And then that's kind of the ending of the night. But I was able to make 10 connections while there. And it was a great experience. I see it this way. And then KGB was there live. And so it was on their live radio show during the time. And so I was able to talk to people live and everything. It was just a great experience. Definitely want to go back and do it again. We'll probably just do more of the, maybe like a historical walkthrough with me. And then kind of see it this way. You know, Billy Crank can get them to laugh, and then I can kind of make them cry. And then Night Stalker Paranormal thing can just scare them, and then they can go home, you know, that kind of thing. So it was a great experience. It's an amazing place to go to. Definitely active. You can feel the energy as soon as you walk in. So I know that as soon as you walk in, you're going to feel it.
There's no guarantees with me. I went to Bobby Mackey's. And that's one thing I forgot to talk about at the beginning of the show. Last weekend, I went to Bobby Mackey's Music World, and the place was dead, and not in the way that makes for a good ghost hunt dead. It was dead. And in reflection, what it was, they took me, the soul sheriff, and a priest, an actual honest-to-God priest, into the place to host the ghost hunt. And I just think all the ghosts went, I don't know what's happened, but the shit's got real. And that was... And so it was the quietest night I've ever had, and we all felt terrible because all these people, you know, a lot of them had never been on a ghost hunt before, but they got to experience what a real ghost hunt is like. Usually, nothing happens. But anyway, back to Octagon. Now, when you're making these connections, of course, you are, in my definition, you are making connections with spirit, with the souls that have crossed over and gone to where souls go, and then come back to be with their loved ones, etc., etc. When you're in a haunted location, now, do you experience the ghost, or do you even believe in ghosts? You never really said.
I do. Yes, I 100% do.
Okay, now, so when you go into a haunted location, do you also experience ghosts, and do you attract them? Are you like the proverbial flame, light, porch light?
I'll say this. I have a lot of ghost hunter teams contact me because they say no matter where I go, I draw the spirits out. Like, they just get their equipment and they put it beside me. It's
that warm, fuzzy thing.
What now?
It's that warm, fuzzy thing I was talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Actually, but they do. Ghost hunters, they contact me all the time saying, could you just, and they know, look, and I don't have, it's nothing against ghost hunters. I'm friends with so many of them, and I adore what they do, and, I have nothing against them, but I just don't ghost hunt. I'll go to them, but I don't really ghost hunt. Like, I really would prefer the historical walkthroughs and stuff like that. I'll let them do it. Like, if I have an event and we're in like the Thomas House or the Austin Hall, I don't host the ghost hunt. I'll let them host the ghost hunt, But they do like to stay around me, and you'll see them, like, get their equipment out and have it around me because they say that I draw the spirits out. Maria, she's part of Night Stalker. She had got this, I have no idea the name of it, but it's a wrist watch, and you put it on you. And we have a picture. Billy Cranka did a picture of her putting it on me, on my right hand, and she said that it was working fine. They tested it. They put it on my right hand, and it was nothing but electrical static the entire time. She was so upset. She was like, I don't know what happened, but it's definitely because I'm able to go into a place, and if they're able, like I said, there'll be places that's completely dead, like nothing, and then you'll go into a place and get things. But I've had souls respond back to me. I've had them where at the Octagon Hall, my very first time going and doing a walkthrough, and you can see a lot of my videos. I actually have the walkthrough, my very first Octagon Hall walkthrough on my YouTube channel. When people can type in Angel Leigh readings on YouTube, and I should pop up. Just scroll through, and there's like 100 and something in there, and one of them is the walkthrough, and I'm in the room. You can hear an EVP of, it wasn't any of us, but it was of a spirit say, how many? And I answer the spirit, and I go, there's like two women, I feel, and everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy because nobody asked me that. I had heard the spirit ask that, and I'm dazed at the time. I'm not really, understanding if it's them or the spirit asking me, but it was amazing that we were able to pick it up in the video. And a lot of people at my event, I tell people all the time with a few of my event videos, wear headphones, earphones, and listen very closely because I've had numerous of them where I'm making a connection and you'll hear the soul respond back to me. There's one I'm connecting with a baby. A grandmother is rocking the baby, and I can see the baby, and I taste copper. You can type in copper baby, Angel Leigh reading, and it will pop up for YouTube. But I'm tasting copper, and I'm getting pretty sick from the taste of the copper. And the lady was there, and she validated that was her baby, and he had passed from the lack of copper. So that makes sense of why I was tasting the copper. But the lady starts humming while she's rocking this baby, and I'm talking about it. Well, during it, in the video, like they couldn't hear it during the event, but if you go back and you listen to the video, you can hear the lady humming. It's like 6 minutes in, but you can actually hear her humming, and the lady that was there said, that is my grandmother's voice, and that is the song that she used to sing to us growing up. I mean, it is amazing at the actual EVP that you get from my connections. And so a lot of the ghost hunters, they like to come around and bring me to places and put their equipment near me, because you'll usually, get great EVPs.
One more commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Paranormal Filler and Angel Leigh. What's in your future? Is your match made in heaven? Are you wondering where the passion went? Get an amazing psychic reading from Ask Now by dialing 888-380-3205. Ask Now is the nation's premier psychic network. Easily connect with the most qualified and gifted psychic advisors from across the country at any time, day or night. That's 888-380-3205. Don't be lost in the dark. Get your psychic reading. And we're back with our final segment of Paranormal Filler for this hour. Okay, Angel, what's coming up on the horizon for you? I know you've got some events coming up. You sound like you're a busy gal.
I am. I was so busy in October. I tell my parents all the time and my friends, I just need to move to Kentucky or Tennessee because I'm always there. I was busy every weekend of October. November, I'm down south here in Mississippi. I'm, originally from Mississippi, so I'm having to show some love to the Mississippi people around here. But November 12th, this coming weekend, I have at Huntsville, Alabama, I have an event coming up. And people can add me to Angel Leigh Spiritual Messenger. It's my fan page on my Facebook. And it's Angel Leigh Spiritual Messenger. They can add me on there, and I have my events listed. And it's in Huntsville, Alabama, November 12th. And if you go on there, you can find the event, and you can click on it, and it tells all the details, the prices, the time, and all of that. November 19th, I have another event in Lucedale, Mississippi, and that's also on my Facebook page. So people can find me on Facebook, and I have Twitter, and you can find me on my my webpage at www.angelleespiritualmessenger.com. We've been working on that, And I'm just here recently started back doing online sessions. And so if people are interested in that, they can add me to Facebook, and you can find, I just put out an advertisement of how to do my online sessions. But you can, for the people who don't have social media or whatever, you can email my assistant at angelleassistant@gmail.com, and it's all together. And email and ask if you're interested in the online session. She will email you a packet back of all of the information, and then we'll go from there. And so I'm doing online sessions as well. So just trying to branch out there. I have a lot of people from the UK and stuff that I've read before. And, I feel bad that I'm not able to read everyone, But if you're able to do an online session with me, if you're not able to make it to one of my events, get up with me for an online session.
And now I've read a little bit about that. Basically, you tell the people to request a session, and then if you feel any connection, you get back to them. Is that kind of the way it works?
Yes, I don't like like most. They'll sit down and have a connection with them. Now I can meet you and automatically get a connection just like that. I've been doing that. I've had a few online sessions where I will feel a connection immediately. They don't even have to send a picture of a past loved one. I'll feel it, and I'll do it right then. But sometimes I don't take money from people, like my sessions, what they cost. I don't take any kind of payment if I don't make a connection for them. I'm just not like that. So what I do is let's say if you're interested in a session with me, you can email at, angelleeassistant@gmail.com and say, hey, I'm interested in an Angel Lee session. Then she will send you the information back, and you pay if you're interested in it. And then you can send a picture. And then I will look at the picture, and you'll have 5 business days to say if I make a connection or not. And if I don't feel a connection with you, you get a total full refund of your money, because I'm not going to take money from someone if I don't make a connection. But so far, I'll be honest with you, I've not had a refund. I've made connections with everyone that has wanted it. But I will say that my online sessions are really booking it's already getting filled up, but it's slow, as in I'm not going to be able to do them every day because I'm doing events and stuff like that. So I'm kind of working in these sessions, if that makes sense. It's just because I've had so many ask for them, and I started feeling kind of bad, because if you're not able to come to Mississippi for an event, you can't have a session with me, and that's not fair. I'm not able to go to Kansas right now or Nebraska, So I felt like this would give the opportunity for the people who are not able to come to my events right now, a reading with me. And so that's kind of how I'm working right now. But if I feel a connection, great, but if I don't, then I will for sure give you a refund back. But so far, I've not had to give refunds. I just started this online stuff back. I was having it to where people were sending me pictures a long time ago, and I would make a connection, and it drains me. And I felt that connection all day. I mean, it would bother me all day. It drained me. I was just irritable all day. And then they didn't want to they were so busy. It was just a really horrible experience for me. And that's the reason I stopped doing online. And then I said, don't send me a picture unless you're for sure serious about a connection. Because once I make a connection, it starts draining me, and I'm with that all day. So just have the respect for me, as what I do. And so I don't ask for pictures or anything like that unless they make a payment, because then I know that they're serious about this connection, because I take each connection very serious, and so that's kind of how I do things with my online sessions, yes. Now, for one-on-ones, I do one-on-ones for people. If I'm in your area, or I'll travel like a 50-mile radius, I can't travel hours. Unless I have an event in your area and you're interested in a one-on-one, and if I can squeeze you in, I will for sure do a one-on-one. And sometimes I don't even ask for pictures with that, but they'll usually email my assistant. My assistant handles everything, and they'll schedule you in for a one-on-one, like face-to-face with me, if I'm in your area.
Well, Coyote Chris Sutton's in the chat room, and he agrees with me. Me and him have to figure out how to get assistance. That's maybe that's what's holding us back, Chris. Angel, I want to thank you so much for coming on. We're at the end of the show. It's been great fun talking to you again, and I'm looking forward to running into you in the future.
Oh yeah, I've definitely I'm really, really looking forward to it. Seeing you again, and hopefully we'll all get together again. Hopefully I'll be at Scarefest this coming next year, and maybe I'll be on the bottom floor this time. Who knows? So I was on the 3rd floor this time. So, but I had a great experience, and I appreciate you letting me on the show. It's been an awesome experience.
And thank you so much. And everybody, stay tuned if you're listening live. Gone Off Topic will be up at the top of the hour. We'll be talking aliens with Sonny Rosario. So stay tuned for that.